Hey everybody, it's Kat with Kat Makes Art. I am in the process of tea/coffee dyeing some papers in my kitchen. So I'm using a bunch of, this is just like English breakfast tea and a espresso instant powder. And so I just been dipping the papers in, getting them saturated. I'm not going to do that one just because I don't have any more room to lay it out. And then I lay them here. I then take the tea and just sort of sprinkle it on. And then I also sprinkle on some of the espresso powder to get these really cool effects. And then I turn it over after a few minutes of drying, and I kind of just refresh the, the coffee and the tea just to, so both sides have some interest. Okay, stay tuned to see what's next. Okay, next steps, cutting all the papers down in half just to have single sheets. I'm going to do a three-hole sort of three-ring binding on this journal. So I have to now cut holes in each of these papers, which I've made this little cardboard template, and I've already started punching some of the holes. And then what I usually like to do is reinforce the holes with these little paper rings, and these were white, and now I've just been taking a little makeup sponge and dipping it, and then just sort of coloring all of the little tabs. And then this is what it looks like in. So I've got one done. So I've got the gold, which I kind of feel like the shiny gold with the tea dyed is kind of sharp. And I do both sides just to make sure so that these pages don't pull up. Okay, so I'm going to keep punching and putting the tab reinforcement thingies on, and then I'll be back to assemble and show you what I've got. Okay, I'm going to do a little punch in here and just to show you the process. So I went through and measured kind of halfway point and then about 3/4 of an inch from each end on the cardboard, punched out the holes, and now I'm taking and sort of centering this because the cardboard's a teeny bit longer than the paper. So I'm just leaving a little bit of a margin on each end here, just so we kind of are centered, and making sure it's tapped right to the edge. And then I take my little cutie paper punch, hole punch. Sometimes the little papers get stuck in here, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. So this is a sort of a slow and torturous process. So I hope that when people buy homemade journals from other people, they value the the number of hours and tedious moments that we go through. So then also another tedious thing is waiting. I painted all of these, and now I am placing each one by hand, centered over the little holes. I'm gonna turn it this way so you can see better. And then I do also both sides. So yeah, it's a little bit of a process, but oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And then when I don't know if you've ever made a handmade journal before, but the satisfaction that you get when you put that whole thing together and you have created this amazing book from nothing, like with your own two hands, it is so satisfying. Like I can't even tell you. And then if you're an artist or a writer or whatever, the time that you get then to spend working in that journal that you've created by hand is really special. I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed with it, and I can't stop doing it. So I'm gonna keep punching away and enjoying this process, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I've got all of my hand-dyed papers cut, dyed, cut, hole punched, and then with the gold little protectors in place on both sides, so everything will be really secure. And look how yummy and scrumptious these pages are. Ah, they're so crinkly. I love the texture. I feel like the tea dyeing, it makes them really fragile while you're dyeing them, but then they kind of get this cool, almost a stronger texture. Okay, so next we're going to assemble. But first I'm going to show you the cover. These are this is the back cover, this is the front cover, obviously. And we just had a recent huge full moon, the Sagittarius full moon, and my moon rising sign is Sagittarius. So I was super inspired by this. Actually, I have another journal I made in the same family. So I made this one the other day. This black paper is, or this black fabric that the moons are painted on, and that my spine is just a black linen fabric that I bought, and then I used like a squirt bottle, kind of like this, to like write words on the fabric. This is glue. I actually used white paint in a squirt bottle to do that. And I saw that on YouTube. I can't remember the artist that did it, but if you know, you can chime in. I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, and then I decided I'm going to do a few of these. And this one I also did with like the tea dyed pages, and I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. So I decided, since I had tea dyed pages kind of going in that journal, the grungy look fits. But I wanted to do a different binding. So I did dry these under a big book, so it'll flatten out. But anyway, I'm going to assemble this now. So I've got 3 rings. I think these are 1 inch, considered 1 inch rings. Yeah, 1 inch rings. And you know, I like these because you can take pages in and out if you want to fill up a book and then add other pages, you can. So yeah, I really like these kind of bindings that you can swap out. So I'm just going to shove these in here. And we're going to start adding papers. I think I'm going to do that the other way. Put this way in, like a little fish hook. And then we're just going to start adding papers. This is the front cover. And I'll be back once it's all bound and put together. Be right back. Okay, it's all done. I'm going to do a little quick flip through. I may go up a 1/2 inch on the clips, I mean, or take some pages out. I'm not sure. It's working fine, but it feels a little stiff. But yeah, so, but I love these bindings because, again, I love a journal that lies flat, and it doesn't matter where, you know, you turn, the pages lie flat. And it's pretty sturdy. I mean, it does have a little wiggle. Sorry about my throat. But yeah, it's actually quite stable. But I just love how this turned out. I did some crackle paste, the texture crackle paste on here, and then I put a little bit of the Distress Oxide, and just sort of, and the ground espresso color, and just sort of smushed it in to show off the crackle a bit. And it turned a little purple in places, but I think it's actually okay. I like the grunginess of it. And then this is just a piece of raw canvas with more of this hand dye or hand, you know, distressed whatever fabric that I glued down over some old book pages, and then I just did some white gesso over that just to give it a little bit of more of a moon feel instead of just a circle. I added the Divine Feminine stamp on there, and then the background of both of these is just white gesso that I smeared on with a spatula, and then I added the crackle paste after the gesso was dry with a spatula and dried it, and I really love the effect. So let me know what you guys think. All right, thanks for watching.